This is a message for later times that while the shroud could be appreciated in earlier centuries, no one knew it was a photographic negative until photography was invented. No one knew it had three-dimensional information until the people...
What mind-blowing detail did Dr. Campbell find that would confirm or reject the shroud's divine origin? Well, before I reveal that, can you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button so we can reach our crazy goal of 1 million by the end of 2025? Thank you. Now let's get right to it. The Shroud of Turin, the centuries-old artifact, has the faint but distinct picture of a man on it. The shroud underwent damage, including burns from a destructive fire, but its mysteries inscribed on its 14t length have not been destroyed. Scholars and skeptics are drawn to it not just because of its age, but also because of the intriguing theory that it may be the actual burial garment of Jesus Christ. Dr. Campbell described how the eminent Protestant theologian John Calvin rejected it as a fake years ago. Calvin's strong disapproval caused most Protestant groups to ignore the shroud, leaving it largely overlooked outside Catholic circles. Dr. Campbell criticized this omission, comparing it to throwing the baby out of the bath water. He argued that the shroud might be authentic even though many medieval relics were nothing more than money-making scams. He shifted his attention to the findings of a groundbreaking scientific study conducted in 1978. Photographer Vernon Miller's mysterious shot of the shroud showed off amazing features, including the head, eyes, nose, lips, and even traces of blood stains. Researchers identified the stains as human blood, which align with torture marks and injuries resembling a crown of thorns on the body. But how did this image come to be? That's the real puzzle, isn't it? Dr. Campbell referred to it as a photographic negative imprinted on a non-sensitive linen cloth, a phenomenon that seems to be centuries ahead of its time. The artifact's mystery was increased in 1898 when French photographer Cien Paya exposed its positive image, revealing a face and intricate features. The mystery surrounding this relic grew as a face appeared for the first time out of the shadows. He linked the shroud to ancient prophecies by referencing Isaiah's depiction of a figure so distorted that it defied human likeness. This description eerily mirrors the bruised and lifeless man depicted on the shroud. The fact that the image contains three-dimensional data, which was first discovered in 1978 through NASA's 3D imaging technology, adds to the mystery. Analysis revealed the body and face features with striking clarity. The shroud is an intriguing mystery to investigate because of this amazing finding, which unites modern science with old scriptures, such as the story of Joseph of Ara wrapping Jesus in linen. The shroud displays a M's cloth wrapped body in both frontal and rear views. There are obvious whip marks and blood stains from a crown of thorns, and tests verify that the blood is human. The image of the shroud, including the encoded negative and three-dimensional details, is still intact despite considerable damage from a fire in 1590. The man's body exhibits exact anatomical characteristics that are in line with Roman crucifixion techniques, such as nail holes through the wrists. The shroud, the most researched item in history, continues to arouse curiosity and in-depth analysis despite the unimaginable amount of pain it portrays. When examined more closely, the images show a crucified man with his body scourged, degraded, and bare as Roman custom dictated. There are obvious scourging and crown of thorns marks, as well as shoulder bruises. The fire in 1590 didn't destroy the picture on the shroud, preserving a haunting look at a young, physically fit man. We were able to view these details up close because of high-definition photographs which show every mark and wound in striking contrast. The story that the shroud tells is both enthralling and prophecy. The figure on the shroud shows clear signs of Jesus' terrible suffering. There are obvious bruises on the shoulder and the crown of thorns as described in the scriptures. Jesus bore his cross to Golgotha according to John's account, and the picture depicts the strain of that great load and the bruises from the effort. The Gospels describe Jesus' frequent falls as he struggled with Simon of Cyrene helping to bear the cross. The picture supports the narrative and the scriptures by displaying knee injuries that were probably caused by those falls. The wound on Jesus' right side, which corresponds with Roman crucifixion techniques, is the most remarkable feature. Soldiers punctured his site to verify his death, and the picture shows to water and blood flowing, which aligns with the Gospels' account and confirms physical harm he suffered to guarantee a kill. Soldiers are trained in precise technique, and the shroud's right side wound demonstrates the common Roman method of confirming death. The shroud seems to be holding to the echoes of his pain for ages, with each mark telling a tale and each wound representing a chapter of misery. Now it's time to focus on the linen fabric itself. The material's plain weave is visible in the 35mm color transparency that was acquired during the 1978 test. The photograph includes the yellow fibers that are visible just above the surface of the cloth. The image is exceedingly superficial, and these fibers are incredibly small, approximately 2.5 micron thick. The image of the shroud is still unknown. Instead of finding evidence of paint or artistic skills, the 1978 Shroud of Turin research project team found an incredibly realistic anatomical depiction. This image contains obvious pathological signs of torture, and execution is incredibly superficial. The shroud contains a unique image that's never been seen before without any sign of paint or artistic techniques. How could the shroud have created such a lifelike and anatomically accurate image? In fact, modern technology has failed to duplicate the picture of the shroud after innumerable tries. The secret is in the discoloration of the fibers. Only the top layers, those that are closest to the body, exhibit any change. These fibers turn white when they dip below. Other scientists have attempted to replicate the effect using advanced tools like lasers, but have been unsuccessful. This strengthens the argument that the shroud is a real serious artifact and casts doubt on the likelihood of a medieval fate. When we examine the shroud's chest wound closely, we see an old halo effect around the blood. This is the serum that naturally surrounds the red blood cells. The interesting thing is that, in contrast, normal blood, which gradually loses its red color, this blood nevertheless retains it. The high bilirubin concentration in the blood preserves its red color even after 2,000 years. The presence of hemoglobin, human albumin, and anti-regs unique to human blood confirms its authenticity, providing compelling proof of its validity. Researchers have speculated that the shroud's blood type might be AB. Though this hasn't been confirmed, we can be certain that the blood is human. The shroud's ability to store three-dimensional information from both the front and the rear is among its most amazing features. With the use of this data, researchers have produced a three-dimensional model of the body that accurately depicts all of its features. The posture speaks volumes. It depicts a body caught in the last moment of life, rigid and still in the EIE embrace of rigor mortis. The shroud's three-dimensional data shows the body's position on the cross after crucifixion. They lowered the arms, but the legs slumped and bent under the weight of the body resting on the bottom nail. It appears as if a pillow was placed behind the head, but it's actually the body stiffening while still on the cross. The shroud encodes this posture, capturing the exact anatomical and pathological details, graphic as they are, of a body that underwent unspeakable suffering. In 1978, a significant study was carried out, and the findings dismissed the idea that the shroud could be a painting. Microchemical and X-ray fluorescence studies revealed no signs of pigments, dyes, or stains on the fibers. That is, the image was made without the use of paint. Evaluations in ultraviolet and infrared light, as well as computer enhanced photos from the VPA image analyzer, verified that the shroud crucified, but how this image was formed still remains a mystery, as it was at the time. One of the most fascinating mysteries in history is still the Shroud of Turin. Many people think that radiocarbon dating is a medieval invention because it was discovered in 1988 and was dated between 1260 and 1390, but as time went on, this conclusion became less certain. Later researchers found that the examined sample had a combination of modern repair materials and ancient linen, most likely applied during a Middle Ages restoration. Because of this mixing, the average age was incorrect, casting doubt on the initial findings. According to more recent methods such as X-ray dating, the shroud might actually be from the 1st century, as it matches textiles discovered in historic locations like Masada in Israel. This discovery solidifies its link to the period of Christ. The image itself, a frighteningly accurate portrayal of a man who suffered cruel Roman scourging and crucifixion, now adds to the mystery. Pathologists and trauma specialists confirm that the wounds, which include markings from a Roman flagrum, are anatomically and physiologically authentic. No medieval artist could have captured the intensity of sorrow depicted by these nuances. Centuries of research have failed to explain the shroud. How was the picture made? Did a powerful burst of light actually form it, as some have theorized? As the mystery grows, the shroud remains firm at history, science, and faith. It's impossible to explain the mystery surrounding the Shroud of Turin. Radiocarbon dating initially suggested it was from the medieval era, but sample errors showed it might actually date back to the 1st century. According to forensic experts, the extremely accurate image displays wounds compatible with Roman crucifixion, mineral evidence, pollen from regions matching its historical path, and dirt from Jerusalem support its known path past modern science. Reveals details like its photographic negative and 3D information, which were unthinkable in earlier eras. The shroud continues to evoke awe and wonder, whether created by divine hand